Now I want to talk to you a little bit about some disability issues and potential nursing home issues. Because one of the things, remember, a trust can talk to very effectively is this issue of disability and incapacity. Well, you know, disability could be temporary. I could just be out of the country for a few months and I need somebody to be able to do things for me. Right? So I could have my successor trustee step in while I'm gone. It could be full-time, permanent disability. I've got to look at, again, that trust or the power of attorney to see how that's determined. You know, is it decided by the doctors whether I'm incapacitated? Have I picked the people that make that decision? You know, do I have my wife and a doctor decide? You know, or again, however I want to structure that, I can structure it within my plan. Need to make sure my doctor has copies of those medical directives, the medical power of attorney, the living will, which is my instructions on whether I want to be kept alive artificially or not. I should discuss with my family members, my spouse, adult children, what my wishes are, and then document that. Do I want to be cremated? Do I want particular services? In our planning, we have a form that people can fill out if they have, you know, very specific burial wishes. If incapacity is permanent, right? So I am permanently incapacitated. Again, my successor trustee has to complete a new certification of trust to identify them as the now trustee, locate those documents. As the trustee, remember, I've got that fiduciary obligation, so I cannot enter into risky business decisions. You know, I had a trustee recently who, as part of his administration of the trust, made loans to friends. You know, that's not a very prudent trustee investment, making unsecured loans to friends. I mean, fortunately, it got repaid. You know, his thinking was, well, I know that guy well. That's a trustworthy obligation. He's going to pay me back. Well, I mean, that may be true, but that does not meet your obligation as a trustee. Critically important that as trustee, I keep very good records. I document everything. Everything I'm doing, why I'm doing it, the date that it's done. Remember, as a successor trustee, I have an obligation to report to the other beneficiaries of the trust. So if I'm doing things like making interest-free loans to friends, or I'm entering into other risky transactions, I have an obligation to disclose that to the beneficiaries of the trust. And each year, I have to provide them essentially with an accounting of what the initial trust assets consisted of, what the fair market value of those assets were, of all income into the trust, of all expenses out of the trust. So I have to account very carefully for everything that I do. As trustee, I'm going to be very conservative in making those investment decisions. I'm not looking for the big score as a trustee. I'm certainly not going to be day trading as a trustee. You know, I'm going to be extremely conservative in what I do, and you know, talk about with people like Rob what makes sense to do based on the purposes of those different trusts and the different tax consequences of those different trusts.